Hello, welcome back to the Crusader States Abridged. Last time we had a very messy final battle with the Fatimids, but we eventually finished them off. And then we went to the other side of the map to fight the Moors for the final phase of this campaign, using a cheeky crusade to get there fast, and we've just taken the crusade target. Now it's time to fan out and start conquering Iberia. We can get started right away. We can already see another target off to the east. So I'm going to send two stacks to go take a look. One decent stack and one that has quite a bit of trash in it. That will just be our backup. There's another Moor city to the north of that one as well, so there's at least two to get in that direction. As for the other direction, we can only send one army, because I will need the other army to stay at Granada for now. We quickly take out a small Moor force, but we don't see anything else yet. Now the reason we need that stack to stay in Granada is because we're going to have some fun with the distance to capital public order debuff. It's going to be between 50 and 70% over here for all of these settlements, meaning we need to have extraordinary public order to prevent these places rebelling, compounded with the fact that we're foreign invaders and we're a very different religion to the locals, means that's going to be quite difficult. So in this case, Granada does need that stack of troops inside. They're going to have to be wasted as a garrison until we can get some more trash later. Now in the next turn, our western army moves north and discovers the Moor capital. It's right there and it's fully garrisoned. They've got generals and tons of spear militia. Not that good of an army actually, but putting a watchtower down reveals another army and lots of small groups all over the place. So I'm going to be defensive here. I'm going to fortify my side of the bridge. Now they can't easily get towards Granada, and if at some point we can free up our other much better army to come and help, we may be able to make progress there. We're going to be more aggressive though on the other side because a great opportunity arose. It turns out there's a small army standing outside this next settlement, so I can just rush them and go for a siege draw-out. It does mean I can't use my second army, but still perfectly possible. Decided to check out the stats on various Moor units. Their spear militia is just a tiny bit better than ours, and their other units are much better than ours, but that's what we're used to after fighting with the Fatimids, so nothing new. First we'll need to fight the small battle against that first army. I've split my army roughly in half, with most of the units facing the other way in case the reinforcements arrive while we're doing this. The enemy's camels charge our front line and do surprisingly well. If this was Three Kingdoms, they'd be dead by now. Annoyingly, some of their other units go after my cav. They didn't just run into the front line like I wanted so I could hammer and anvil them. Gonna have to do some micro. Now I realised I was taking casualties among my group at the back, and that's because they're being hit by ballista bolts. The enemy have a ballista out there somewhere in the woods. We can't really see it, but it's taking us out. So I'm going to move back to not only get out of range in theory, but to be closer to the rest of my army because I had strayed too far away. I need to be close by, ready for the main fight. The micro is just about coming together. We've got our cav around the enemy's units and behind their army, and the units that were out in the open are now finally being engaged by something at least. Like here, these jabs will just keep those Arabian infantry occupied while the cav do their thing. And here is an example of that thing being done. This unit of spear militia will last approximately 0 seconds against that heavy cav charge from our king, and that's the end of them. We'll now pile in on the Arabian infantry, and that first army is now gone. Just in time, because the second army is starting to arrive. They're already shooting us with a few horse archers. My formation is completely messed up, so I need to finally organise things ready for a fight. However, more stuff's coming out of the woods now. Some fireballs start being thrown towards us, so yes, as well as the ballista, they do have catapults out there. Now I've used some cav to clear out the enemy skirmishing cav that they led with, and now I'm going to move the whole army forwards, not going to wait for the enemy to show up. Not only because we're actually on the reverse slope of the hill, but I don't want to sit here being shot by the catapults for too long. In that regard though, we can deploy our secret weapon, a unit of cav that's on the other side of the map, not doing very much. They can now swing in and hit the enemy from behind. Looks like I managed to put something of a line together to receive the enemy blobs once they emerge from the woods. Those fights might not go all that well, especially where their general is attacking on the left, but we're not necessarily looking to win those fights. We are going to be working to surround the enemy. Always a good idea, and especially a good idea in a fight like this where it's a siege draw-out, and just winning doesn't really matter. We need to win absolutely so that nothing is left by the end of this. So you can see I'm manoeuvring units, and especially these light cav, to be behind the enemy's main position now that they've committed. That means if we do rout them, we can immediately send units to just chase everything down and minimise the amount of stuff that gets away. having a few issues with that enemy general on our left, trying to take him down with one of my own generals, and broadly that's working. I'm also not using my ranged infantry very well. Some people commented on previous parts saying that crossbows can't fire in arcs, which I didn't know about. I'm not sure when the first footage will be of me when I do know about it, but basically I'm just using crossbows like archers, and that might explain why they haven't really been doing anything in the previous battles. Anyway, we do get to the point when everything just routs due to us rear attacking them, and then we get to the real work of this battle, that is killing absolutely everything, especially the enemy commander, so no characters survive. A few enemy cav that attacked at the beginning did escape earlier on, so I'm being especially careful to make sure we kill everything we can, but we easily made it to the 85% magic number. That second army there is toast, and what happens to the first army doesn't really matter if that's the case. Everything is dead, the battlefield is cleared, the Moors don't like us, and the settlement is taken. I think it would have been a good idea there to sack the settlement. I always just automatically don't, because you make more money in the long run taxing the people while they're alive. However, killing them might have meant there's less squalor and stuff, and public order will be less of an issue. And of course, it is going to be a big issue. We're barely maintaining a non-rebellious state with a full stack in there right now. So that will severely hamper our ability to advance. With my second army, by the way, I was planning on starting another fight with all those other enemies nearby, but then I couldn't be bothered, so I'm just going to slap down a fort right there and see what happens, set up for a future move. We're going to keep sitting around at Cordoba as well, because I don't want to attack with the enemy having a theoretical numbers advantage. But what I do want to do is stand on this bridge, because if they attack me, their numbers won't be worth all that much. There's potential for a cheeky turnaround. Now some news from the home front. I finally got some guys promoted to be cardinals in the College of Cardinals in Rome. That means I now have some priests who can't turn into heretics. I can use them then to spam all the heretics until finally they get converted without creating more heretics. So now we're finally going to overturn the massive amounts of heresy over in the Holy Land. Now in the next turn, we're ready to attack, but I'm not really going to attack right now. I was of two minds because I started with this army moving towards the west up this road, but really, Valencia to the northeast needs to be my target. So while there are some weak enemy armies here that we probably could go after and trash, I'm actually not going to attack them. I'm going to walk backwards since I want to keep as much stuff in range of Valencia ready to make an attack in the next turn. You can see just how cautious I'm being. I'm going to put another fort down right next to the fort I already made, because I desperately don't want to be attacked by the enemy. Using a fort forces them to siege you, so you can reinforce with your other stack and sort things out that way. However, all of that comes to nothing, because then a Moorish diplomat finds my guy up standing around near Marseille trying to hawk map information, and they want a ceasefire. I say I'll give you the ceasefire if you just give me Valencia, the place I was after. That's a balanced offer apparently, and they do accept it, so that's handy. I guess it's not that handy because we do want to be at war with the Moorish, meaning we are not going to be respecting this peace deal, but it is only a ceasefire, not an actual deal, so we'll be firing again soon. Meanwhile, back on the home front again, the heretics are dropping left, right and centre. We are sorting that mess out. And also, I've been recruiting some units here, and it's time to use this ceasefire to our advantage. We can start piling all the stuff that's standing around into ships, and ship them off to the other side of the world. Doesn't look like the Seljuks are going to bother attacking us. That's the main weakness of this strategy, if they do. But as long as everything remains fine, we can pour everything into Iberia, and soon we'll have extra help. Here's Valencia, the place I got in the deal. It comes with a load of free javelinmen, and the enemy forces, who have now been kicked out, are not going to attack me, hopefully, and then things will be fine here. You can see the process of me realising I need to not bother making economy buildings here, because not only does economy not really matter in the late game, because we're not going to use the money we're going to be making, but right now public order is the only thing we need, so we're going to start converting the people to Catholicism and spamming trash troops to keep them oppressed. My hunt for heretics uncovers a new thing. There was a witch standing around in our territory, never seen that before. But they go down just as easily as the heretics, and in fact this guy who just got the kill has a witch hunter in his retinue. No idea if he got that for killing the witch, but if he had it before, that was very appropriate. Now the Moors are going to get out of our new territory, which is very nice. All those forces will go away and clear the way for us to be able to use the roads, which we'll need to do, so that we can walk up to the borders, ready to attack them again. Then some bad news. King Jean the Chivalrous has died. Not sure how he became the Chivalrous. I've been executing absolutely everyone, but not enough. Probably all these settlement captures where I'm not sacking it is giving him a good reputation. Anyway, the new king, Godefroy, is just over here in Mercia, and he's okay. He's got middling authority, so no immediate rebellions likely to happen, and we'll get him a couple of victories to build that up soon enough. So yes, that'll be fine in the end. And here's me using the newly open roads to very obviously advertise my intent to not keep the ceasefire. We can now unify our western and eastern attack prongs to just attack Cordoba and focus loads of stuff together, and here I am, fortifying the border, making it very obvious that we're about to attack soon. There's some good news at Granada. The public order has stabilised a bit, so as long as I leave a garrison commander, a governor, and a few troops, we can keep things stable there, freeing up a whole load of stuff here. So now we can prepare something special. But I'm not going to send those men to join the attack on Cordoba just yet. I thought maybe I'll go across to Africa, where the Moors do have some more territory, might be able to score some easy victories there and get closer to our region count. So I'll set up for that, but we'll see what comes of it in a second. Looks like things are going wrong over at Mecca. A rebellion has just laid siege to the town, so yes, that's been very far from my mind, but something's going on down here. Handily enough, I for some reason have two forgotten generals garrisoning this town, so we actually have two generals' bodyguard units to play with, meaning we're able to match what the rebels have in terms of strength. We've even got some trash infantry. I'm trying to get some more as well. So we'll come back to that in a second. Here's the other thing we've just come back to, the invasion of Africa. It's not going to happen because I quickly discovered this whole place has already been taken by the old Kingdom of Sicily. The Kingdom of Sicily is dominating Africa. They own it from Mauritania to western Egypt right now. Carthage is back, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to have to just bypass them. Here are my reinforcements, very slowly making their way over. Now that it's not a crusade, it'll take ages to get the reinforcements over. But I will send 2 fleets with various units to help us out later. A good way to make use of the ceasefire, I think. Anyway, now, back to the other thing we're getting back to. That is the rebellion and the fact that they are attacking Mecca. They've got 2 units of pure trash, 2 good units, and a middling archer unit. They've also got ladders and a ram. What I thought, for some reason, was that I needed to stop those ladders, so I sent my trash spear militia to go stand outside. By standing in front of the ladders, the unit carrying them will drop them. That means only the ram will get into the city, and my heavy cav will prepare to hit anything coming through the gate on both sides. That's the idea. It does mean this spear unit's going to be sacrificed, but at least fighting in front of the wall means that the towers will be shooting the enemy. That will gradually kill a few enemies, but we are so outclassed against the enemy's Nubian spears that it's not going to make too much difference. Anyway, so eventually that ram comes over and starts ramming the gate, and it was about now I realised it would be better to just send the heavy cav out and just absolutely annihilate all of that peasant infantry, because then the ram won't even be able to open the gate and will win automatically. But I realised that too late apparently, because you're not allowed to open the gate once the ram's there, it seems. I guess there's a rule because of the pathfinding or something, the ram's blocking the way. You can't open the doors again. Meaning I am now going to have to go with my lower quality original plan of letting them in and then trying to hit them with cav. So here we are a bit later, they've opened the gate and here they come. The spears outside are all dead at this point. Now I need to pull back with the Sudanese tribesmen to make more space for the cav to charge the flanks of the enemy. But my order to move backwards seems to be awkwardly interpreted. I think they're getting drawn into this fight. And in fact all they end up doing is encircling the enemy, which is bad because now we're blocking our own path of charge. At least we're only fighting peasant infantry. They have 1 attack and 1 defense, so my guys should be able to win in that battle. However, as everything else starts to pile in, that's going to change. In particular, they have some Arab light cavalry, and they are especially good. I think they're just called Arab cavalry actually, but a light cavalry unit that has decent combat stats, and as they get in there, our tribesmen are just going to get killed. So I thought now's the time, let's charge the enemy blob. But I've made another mistake. The gap between where I've set up my heavy cav and the blob is not large enough, so they don't charge properly, in that if you charge for a long time, they put the spears down and get their charge bonus. Really, we just walked into that fight, we didn't smash through anything and get a ton of kills, and we've ended up just grinding away. Not the worst situation in the world, because grinding away with a good unit still gets you plenty of kills. But will it be enough? We've got the enemy surrounded, but they are kind of gradually breaking their way out. Our infantry are getting trashed, and we're not killing the enemy fast enough. Not helped by the fact they do have a decent spear unit in there to fight against my cav. About 30 seconds later, here's the situation. Our cav units are basically gone, and I made another mistake. I ordered them to run out of the melee in the wrong direction at first, so they started walking through the enemy and got a load more of themselves killed. Both of our generals are still alive, one of them only just about, but we've lost most of our tribesmen. The enemy have lost tons of their peasant infantry, but the real units are proving difficult to kill. We've barely made a dent in the Arab cav, and now they are swarming out to chase my general and try to take him down. A little bit nasty, and it looks like they're also finishing off my tribesmen. They are not doing very well in that fight at all. At first I was thinking let's fall back and just fight to the death on the capture point and see what happens, but then I changed my mind on that and decided to just stand here and fight it out, because it's not actually going that badly. Our knights cav, now that they're out in the open just fighting the enemy light cav with no spears in between, they do okay. We trade really well and gradually see that cav unit start to be defeated, and somehow our general hasn't died yet. But the real good news was that the enemy's archer unit here that was just coming through the gate routed at pretty much full strength, and the spear unit that was there routed as well. That means I can use my trash marinade to also fight with the remnants, the rearguard of the enemy's cav. That cav unit routs, and that suddenly ends the battle. For a second there I was pretty much convinced that I'd messed this up so badly I was going to lose, but we somehow won, the rebel army will be deleted, and that's the end of that. It all went well in the end. With my plan to land in northern Africa having been foiled, I have to sneak around this allied fleet here, using 2 fleets and a bit of walking over land, to get some guys onto the western coast, because there is still a territory here owned by the Moors, so maybe we can get this one. That's my new plan. But to land there, I'd probably be declaring war, and I was thinking, am I ready to declare war, or perhaps more importantly, will there be any consequences for declaring war? I wasn't sure if I was under any kind of truce or lasting ceasefire that would cause it to be dishonourable for me to go and attack the enemy right now. As you can see, I did anyway, and there didn't appear to be any consequences, so we're just back on this, we're going again. And now I can bring the King's army down from the other prong to join this attack. We've got 2 stacks besieging them, that's all looking good. And my landing force does the landing and finds a small enemy army. The issue here was that I didn't actually know where the settlement was. We don't have line of sight on it. But by killing this army, a few survivors run off to the east, so that tells us that's where it's going to be. And we can also see the border with the next region, so it's got to be over there somewhere. We'll go look for it next turn. Now something very interesting happens during the end turn sequence. The Kingdom of Leon goes and takes out some random Moorish army over there near Cordoba, and it retreats to go and stand outside the city. Anyone knowledgeable in the super top tier mega Medieval 2 exploits that I haven't even used in this campaign will know that now we're in business. We also get this nice message: we're apparently the largest faction. We are number 1. Didn't really think that would be the case. Maybe the Byzantines have gone downhill or something, or the Holy Roman Empire's out the window. Anyway, we discover Fes and can easily set it to siege. Not much inside, so we should win there. You can see the Sicilians were already setting up to attack. We're going to kind of bookend Sicily on the 2 sides of Africa there. That's the plan. So yes, over at Cordoba, now things are about to get nice and exploity, because that army is stuck outside the town because of the siege. It's trying to get inside after it retreated. That means all we need to do is lift the siege with both of our armies, so that the guys inside will be able to reinforce when I do that. So now we've got ourselves a field battle instead of a siege assault, with the enemy's garrison forced out to fight both of my armies. A highly cheeky move. We've essentially forced a siege draw out where there was not one before. So then, now we have to actually win this battle. The only issue is that my better army is the second one, and that's going to be controlled by the AI. But if I don't let them bring it to the battle, then that advantage we have on the balance bar probably won't be there, so I do want to bring them in. Join me then next time to view the chaos of what actually happens in this fight.